As you all know, this is the new page. We are here now because of the fact that YouTube permanently removed the last page. I guess when you know the things that I know and you say the things that I say, when you expose the powers that be, this is what they do. They suppress your views and they get rid of you totally. No warning, no suspension, right? I just got permanently terminated, right? So we're moving on page, whatever. We're here now. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you join the team. It's nothing but insight. We break down body language. We break down words that people say. We for the children here. We're not racist. We don't take sides. We're not lefties as righties. We're not blue or red. We get straight to the point, get straight to the truth, and we don't say to people lying, none of that. So just make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're already part of the team. Make sure you hit that little bell notification. If you see that little bell notification right there, hit that all. So when we come out with new content, you don't miss it. It really helps the channel, y'all. As you see, it really helps it helps prevent them from suppressing my videos and my views and all that. Let's get these important messages out to the children and to the people who don't understand what's really going on out here. This is what we about. So without further ado, shout out to Cinema Shogun. This is going to be my reaction. I'm gonna leave a link down below in the description so you can check him out as well. And yeah, so we're gonna get to the D.E.W. the do. Comment down below what y'all think about this video. Let's get into it.
Theorists have been vindicated once again. Go ahead and grab another dollar and put it into the conspiracy theorists were right jar.
Right.
Because it feels like we are on an epic run right now. Every few weeks, another conspiracy turns out to be true.
Mm-hmm.
And over the past few weeks, I've been talking about what was once considered a conspiracy, these crazy weapons that we are in possession of, these direct energy weapons, these sonar sound wave weapons, all types of stuff that we have been in possession of for a long time. Our government, our military has had these weapons for a long time, and rumors were swirling that some of these weapons were used in Venezuela.
Now they say that 20 American soldiers marched into Venezuela and took over that country and took over that Maduro, what's his name? Whatever the president name. I'm sorry for chopping his name. Comment down below if you know the name. 20 American soldiers marched into Venezuela and took over and captured the president. Some people out there were saying that they used direct energy weapons because people were bleeding out of their eyes, bleeding out of their noses, and all kinds of stuff, throwing up out of their eyes, throwing up out of their nose, stuff coming out of their ears, and they captured just only 20 American soldiers went out there and killed hundreds of people. I mean, they used direct energy weapons. The D.E.W. We're going to get more into it, though.
Now, some people said, oh, that's just a conspiracy. That's not real. That's hogwash. But then Trump came out and confirmed that they did use some new weaponry while they were coming in to snatch up Maduro. Weapons that have not been used on the battlefield in the history of our world, at least as far as we know. Mm-hmm. As far as we know. Mm-hmm. But for years, we were told that this technology didn't exist. For years, we were told that we were crazy. I remember, a couple of years ago, during the wildfires down in Lahaina, down in Maui, in Hawaii, people were suggesting that the wildfire wasn't really a wildfire at all.
And that's true. That is absolutely correct, because there were people that were saying, like, Oprah Winfrey was out there. She had a house as well, and it was a lot of people saying that they was hearing like little tiny explosions underground, and fires were just shooting straight up. It wasn't going it wasn't spreading hitting anything else. It was going straight up to the clouds, and it was just hitting in certain spots, because Oprah Winfrey's house didn't get hit, but houses around her did. I mean, they was on fire, burnt to ashes, and her house did not get touched. And that's when you have direct energy weapons coming from underground that can only hit directly where it wants to hit, and the fire will shoot straight up and nowhere else.
That maybe the wildfire was started by a direct energy weapon. Now, I'm not here to tell you that that was the case. I will tell you that those wildfires, something was off there. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you that law enforcement blocked people from evacuating.
And that's another thing. They was trying to escape, and law enforcement told them not to go that way because it was down power lines, and the power lines were down. Yeah, that's correct. But the problem was, hours before that, they had turned all the power off in the city. The power was off. So there was no reason why they shouldn't or couldn't have been able to walk that way through the power lines, because the power lines wasn't no threat, it wasn't no problem, wasn't no danger. The city was off. The lights, power, electricity was off. So why did the cop not allow them to evacuate that way and push them back into the oven? Pretty much push them back into the fire. Push these people back into the fire.
So there was a lot going on in those fires. I'm not here to tell you they were started by direct energy weapons, but when people brought up the fact that these type of weapons even existed, everyone acted like they were crazy. The mainstream media came out and pretended like this was all science fiction, that stuff like this didn't exist, that weapons like these didn't exist, even though we knew they did. And now the government has confirmed that. And just in case, what happened in Venezuela wasn't enough, just in case everything we were told previous and prior to that wasn't enough, just in case Trump confirming that they have this technology wasn't enough, because apparently it's still not enough for some people. They still think this is all Star Trek talk. Well, a couple of days ago, the Department of War posted this over on X. It says precision.
Okay, I'm sorry, y'all can't see it. It says the Department of War, CTO, 2 days ago, precision at the speed of light. The scaled direct energy, which is called abbreviated SCADE, is driving the Department of War's push to scale direct energy across the fighting force. So they are admitting the Department of War is admitting that they are scaling it. Scaling meaning they're trying to, make sure it can get into every device, go get, however they want to put it. But I think this has been going on way, way, way before this admittance. I mean, years and decades before this. I'm going to give you examples later on. And after this video, we're going to show you all that, give you the infinite insight. We're going to show you, in detail of what we're talking about.
At the speed of light. The scaled directed energy, SCADE, CTA, is driving the Department of War's push to scale directed energy across the fighting force. The Department of War just posted this. Yes, the Department of War has directed energy weapons. And yes,
we are scaling them. So again, they are starting to admit it. They said yes. The Department of War has directed energy weapons, the D.E.W. do. Now, we're going to get into that later on a little bit more, but I want you to hear just a little bit more of what Cinema Shogun has to say about it, get his opinion, and then we're going to, give our insight.
We are scaling them. So my question now is, what more do people need?
Right. Okay, so you know how we do it here, right? At the end of every video, we give nothing but insight. We show, do detail. We give the actual footage. We show raw. So here's the actual footage of one of the security guards that was in Venezuela that got captured. He survived, right? And it says U.S. reportedly used sonic weapon during Maduro. Yeah, that's his name. Maduro raid. Now, Maduro is, if y'all don't know who that is the president in Venezuela, or what do you want to call it, dictator. I don't know what they got out there, but so let's listen in.
Sensational new account of the Delta Force raid to captureless Nicolas Maduro, reposted on X by the White House press secretary, includes this eyebrow-raising detail from one of Maduro's bodyguards about the way the Americans...
Now look at how this is going straight up. Bang, 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 straight up. And it's not going nowhere else. That is when you know there's a direct energy weapon being used. That's one of the ways. It's going to be, we're going to point out several ways, but this is one of the ways here where you can understand something is wrong with this fire here. Like, why is it only right there in that one spot?
Disabled them. The quote is, at one point they launched something. I don't know how to describe it, he said. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly I felt like my head was exploding from the inside.
Sound wave. Comment down below how many of y'all remember hearing these sound waves. I know y'all all heard these sound waves before. It sounds like an airplane coming near you, and you just don't see no plane. Like this is like real buzzing, humming. You know, I know many people. There's many videos out there, right? There's many videos out there with people in their backyards or in their yards pointing their cameras up to the sky, like y'all hear this, y'all hear this, and there's nothing coming towards it, but it sounds like it's getting closer and closer, but there's nothing, no, nothing pulls up. But yeah, so this is one of the things that I'm trying to tell you. And now, let's get into the Hawaii situation. Shout out to Hawaii. My heart goes out to my, I still, my heart still goes out to them. But they also had direct energy weapon happening, right? And as we stated earlier, here we go with a witness. A witness right now is going to explain what he heard. We got a couple. Let's just go into the video.
Fire bombs were so big they were sucking oxygen out of the air. People didn't have oxygen to breathe. I think this is an absolutely top-level national disaster. We've never seen anything like it. I've been here 32 years.
Now, I want you to take a look at this, right? So, if you look carefully, some houses is burnt up to a crisp, to ashes. Some cars are. Some cars are completely fine. I mean, there's not a scratch on this car. These cars look fine. Right behind it is, look next to it, burnt up. Look in front of it, burnt up. Look at this. Look at this. Some are good and some are not. Y'all might say, well, it didn't spread that far. Well, how can the fire spread from this house to this car right here and then stop? This house starts and then stops here. How come these didn't get touched at all? So the fire never went this way? None of the fires came in none of the directions. This fire didn't come this way. That fire didn't go that way. Okay, yeah, okay. And then look how they burnt. They burnt like it's almost like 9/11. We're gonna get into that next though. Y'all read the descriptions. Read right here. This is somebody who got a story. They went viral telling a story of how their house didn't get touched. And look at what around them. Look at around them. Everything else. Everything else. Now, it makes me think, who is this person? He has to be an important person, I bet you. Just like Oprah. Oprah's house didn't get touched, and it was just like this. Oprah's house was just like this. Now, shout out to Oprah. I'm glad, nothing happened to her. But it's funny. It's suspicious that, the people of power didn't get touched, but everybody else did. We're going to get into something else with 9/11 and how that matches up with the D.E.W. Something called dustification, right? So, if you noticed, when 9/11 happened, when the planes hit the towers, there was only about a good half an hour to 45 minutes before those buildings actually collapsed, right? Or so-called, quote-unquote, collapse, right? So, comment down below. I would love to hear y'all opinions and advice on this. Comment down below if y'all think that was due to heavy heat from fuel or something else. Because how can heavy heat from fuel cause dustification? Now that those buildings turned into dust and chased Manhattan. It chased people out of Manhattan. This big giant dust cloud. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know brick buildings. I don't know buildings that can just crumble into dust. Especially that whole building. I can see just that part where the planes hit. But the whole structure of that building, those Twin Towers was built so heavy and so strong that I can't see the beams and the steel melting that fast, turning into dust. Let's take a look at somebody. Shout out to Judy Brooks. I forgot her name, but she's going to explain this in detail. Let's take a look.
I hope I live. I hope I live. It's coming down on me. Here it comes.
Now y'all see these things popping out, sprouting out. These little things right here, it's telling y'all that is brick. That is part of the building that is actually turning into this dust that you see. These little particles you see here, those is part of the building that is actually literally turning into dust clouds. As it's coming down, If y'all can explain that to me scientifically, how can these little particles that is part of the building, that was once part of the building, turn into this big ass dust cloud as it's coming down, collapsing? That doesn't make sense scientifically, right? So there has to be a device underneath, because underneath this called a bathtub that both the Twin Towers sit on. Do y'all research. It's called a bathtub. Imagine in your household, your bathtub in your bathroom. Imagine that bathtub in your house, the size of a building, size of the Twin Towers, right? Because what happens is this bathtub is designed to prevent the buildings from actually hitting the floor and cracking the floor, because Manhattan is surrounded by the Hudson River. And if that was the crack, it would flood Manhattan. Manhattan would flood if those buildings would actually hit the floor and crack. That's why they have bathtubs to prevent that. Now, do you know that those bathtubs that the tower sat on didn't have a scratch on it? That means those buildings never came down and hit the floor. They never hit the floor because the bathtubs would have been destroyed or had at least a scratch on it or something. It had some kind of proof that those buildings came down and hit the floor. But the bathtub didn't have a scratch on it. That means it never collapsed. They just deteriorated into dust, into air. Let's keep going.
I'm getting behind a car.
One of the main things that can be observed if you study the videos from the day is what Dr. Judy Wood
It's my guy right here, Andrew. It's my guy.
Called dustification. And this is where you can actually see.
Now look carefully. Look carefully how it's coming down. These buildings, this building here, is actually crumbling into dust as it's coming down. Demolition sometimes is designed that way so this part of the building, this top part of the building, don't fall over here on this part of the building, on this building here. It's designed to come straight down into a pile of dust, to a pile of rubble. You could just basically just constructionally clean it up with ease. But if you look at this, though, if you take a look at inside of this structural, there are things shooting out. You see that shoot? If y'all look carefully, please, team, I hope y'all see this. This dust shooting out. It's shooting out. There's something shooting out and making this whole structural thing crumble into dust. And the only way that can happen if it's something underground, radioactively going up into these steams. Because if you look at these steams are still, those steams was the only thing that was standing, because they're stronger than the structure of this actual building. So these corners here are the beams or the steams. Those are the actual structure of the building that holds the building up. So everything else in between that is just going to crumble. If you have any device underneath that's going to be radioactively, like if you heard some stories of the janitors that was down and below that was cleaning up before it happened, they heard pop, 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 pop right before everything. So before the towers collapsed, they heard pop, 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 pop. So, they heard it from underneath them and they were in the basement. So what does that mean? There's something underground. Let's keep going.
Of the material of which the buildings were made up, turning to dust.
So what we're going to learn is that the towers didn't burn up.
So they didn't burn up. They did not slam to the ground. They turned into dust in mid-air. Like I was telling y'all earlier, it was just those little particles that y'all saw that was part of the building burst out because, like I said, something was exploding outward. It burst all those bricks out, and then they just crumbled into mid-air because I guess whatever heat is underneath, it couldn't take it. So there's no fuel from no jet, no airplane that can burn brick and steel and wall like that. There's no way in the world. It can't burn that high in Fahrenheit. There's no way.
Or did they slam to the ground, but turned into dust in midair? That's not a collapse. That's dust squirting up. Look at these beams falling.
Yes.
With
They
dust
start to
trailing
look.
behind them.
Y'all
Opaque.
see. So look, these beams falling starts to look. You see how big they were at first? Now they starting to turn into dust, right? Let's go back 1 second. Let's go back a little bit. Just a little bit.
Blocked out all of the sunlight. That's not a collapse. That's dust squirting up.
Watch.
Look at these
See
beams
these beams
falling.
right here. See these beams right here? Look,
With
watch
dust
this, y'all. They
trailing
start to
behind them.
crumb into dust. Look,
Opaque
into
dust.
dust. Right into dust.
It initially
Come
blocked out
on,
all of the sunlight.
come on, team. Y'all saw it, team. That is not normal. that you never seen a fire like that ever in your lives. Never in your lives.
100% sunlight, so it was pitch black. It's very dense dust. And you come to the realization that these pieces of material are becoming dust. They're frothing up into dust
They're
as they
becoming
fall.
dust. Absolutely.
And they didn't hit the ground.
Never hit the ground.
If they
Never.
had slammed to the ground, there'd be over 1 million tons of debris left stacked up in the ground.
Yep.
That didn't happen. Manhattan would have been flooded.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, as we'll see, the towers were built in the Hudson River with a dike around them. If you slam 1 million tons of debris down onto the dike, you're going to break it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't happen.
Because of the bathtub.
And
Bathtub right
if
here.
you
See? Bathtub right here. Y'all see, team? Infinite insight. Come on. Let me get them lights. Hit them likes, y'all. Thumbs up. Thumbs it up. Share the video. Yo, the bathtub survived. It survived. This is the bathtub y'all looking at right now. This is the bathtub y'all looking at right now. This is the actual part that's very, very, very low beneath the tower's basement bottom. So the very bottom of the towers, this is actually beneath that. So if that was to collapse, bang, it won't flood Manhattan. This is the bathtub to save it. Look at this bathtub. This bathtub is in great shape. Let's keep going.
slammed 1 million tons of debris to the ground, it's going to make a thud. The seismic signals did not reflect that.
And that's another thing you have to understand about the seismic signal. The seismic part of it is what is important. The speed, the velocity, impact, and how it can register on scale and make sense. If it don't register on scale and it don't make sense, then there's something wrong. You know, come on, team.
Ober said, I don't remember the sound of the building hitting the ground. Somebody told me it was measured on the Richter scale. I don't know how true that is. If the building's hitting the ground that hard, why do I not remember the sound of it?
So we're going to stop it right there because everything else is like they're going to get into, other things. But I want you to see just that part alone, and then how also blocks and blocks away from 9/11, there were cars that were literally burnt to a crisp that had nothing to do with this.